And it just feels very, it kind of American Gods it, where it's like, hey, all that shit you thought about exists, but you're not going to learn about this particular one because there's just too much. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. And
another show that I never finished.
Yeah, I mean,
which I guess it doesn't matter. It got canceled, so I mean,
yeah,
so. It's never going to get done.
Yeah, so
yeah, but I think I didn't even finish the first season.
Yeah, I think we might have finished the first season. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but it's one of those that's just, it's kind of hard to binge. Like week to week's maybe
long,
easier.
Because it's like 40, 50-minute episodes. It's like Game of Thrones. It's hard for me to binge Game of Thrones when I was catching up to it because I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you have to watch that almost week to week.
It's like I didn't start watching Game of Thrones, I think, until season 3. Season 3.
Yeah.
So I binged like the first 2 seasons, and I remember I was like, oh God, it's like half the day is just watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
Thankfully it was good.
Yeah, could you imagine if that show was shitty?
If it was terrible? No, I just never watched it. I was like, whatever, I'll just
I guess that's a
read reviews.
That's like, because that is an interesting thing of like, there are some things that are better week to week than watching all in one go. And in
that case, it was what, month? No. What was monthly? I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, because Game of Thrones was definitely week to week.
That was week to week, because it'd be week to week for like 2-3 months.
Yeah, because there's like 8 to 10 episodes this season.
Yeah.
And there's some anime that I feel like are kind of that way too, that I don't think High School DxD is one of them. I think it's just hard to binge because it's not hard to binge a season because it's only like 12 episodes and they're like 20 minutes. So it's like whatever. But there are like, because I'm trying to think of what actually would benefit. And I think Spy Family is a good one for this because there's a lot of that sameness in the same like time of life. Slice of life that if you tried to binge it, you could, but you know, if it was like 50 episodes, by the time you're 30 episodes in, you're like, okay, they're going back on this thing. But week to week, you're like, oh, cool, what new shit's gonna happen? Like, what weird shit is, and you have enough disparity between what like Lloyd and Anya and Yor do that. You know, if you spend a couple episodes with just Anya at school, you're like, okay, yeah, that's pretty interesting. But if you kind of binge it, it's harder to do, I'd say, but I think it's not impossible. I mean, fuck, if people are like, if I'm binging Naruto and like knocking out 15 to 20 episodes a week, I think
most standard like picked up anime is 12 episodes. Like this is the most standard form.
Yeah,
it's 12 episode series. You know, for one season.
Yeah,
unless it's something that's been along forever.
Yeah. I think that's probably like, I think Gundam gets that in a way that it would have it would have benefited from being able to see it week to week because it's usually like 49 to 50 episodes. And some of the newer stuff like 00 and IBO,
24.
Yeah, they'll do 24 and then they'll separate it into 2 seasons, or they'll do 50 episodes but split into 2 24 episode seasons. But even that, like, it's kind of hard to get through. Like, Zeta is probably one of the better in terms of a narrative of any of the Gundams. But it took me like 3 tries to get all the way through Zeta because I would get like 30 episodes in, be like, I'm really fucking tired of watching this.
Burnt out, yeah.
Yeah, because it's fucking sad. It's just real, because I mean, that's like UC Gundam is that way most of the time of like, oh yeah, people are dying left and right, just get used to it. You may not know who they are, but if that person dead, they're dead and they're sad, so you're like, oh great, I'm sad. But you know, then I pick back up, so I have to go back a couple episodes and then make another 20 episodes. You're like, I'm almost there, but you're like, oh my god, like I'm just so like it took me a while, but I can see what people are saying with that. Like, there's a ton of Gundam that I think is not very bingeable, but week to week would have been really good because it's like these things happen, you get it in a small dose, and it's usually episode to episode interesting enough. You're like, yeah, I'll come back for that. But we don't get that in streaming anymore most of the time. Like, Yeah, I mean Gundam, yeah, but not most. Gundam, I don't think is big enough here yet, even still with its rise in popularity, for people to be like, I'll watch it week to week, because Mecha barely gets week to week shit anyway in terms of like people talking about it.